Welcome back. Puma Pants says good morning. He's more purry and furry than frisky and risky. Anyway, we've been talking about these five aspects of our being, these five bodies in the old-fashioned yoga language. And it seems to me, and you can tell me what you think. By the way, text me or call me anytime. I love chatting about these things. Anyway, it seems if there's anything that's going to decouple our bodies and leave us sort of fragmented and disconnected and not operating at the full alignment of all of our bodies, it has to be that ancient problem of fear. And fear seems to be the great malaise of mankind. It seems to be a problem. I don't know anybody who's completely overcome it. It's almost hard to imagine for us humans. And no matter how many times we've met it, it seems like we can have a storm of fear pass through us. And man, if I've ever heard the best possible definition of fear, it's always true. It's never not been true when I can calm down enough and look at my fear. But fear is always, I'm afraid I'm going to lose something that I already have that's very valuable to me, or I'm afraid I'm not going to get something that I've identified as being incredibly important to me. I'm going to lose something that I have, or I'm not going to get something that I want. And if I honestly take a look at my fear, I can always resolve it down to one of those things. Now, that's the beginning of my fear going away, is just to recognize that that's happening inside of me. It's the beginning of a process that I think it's probably good that we all have a process, something that we can utilize when fear strikes. And if we listen to what great ancient yogis said about what it is that causes fear, it's another one of their models of reality. They say that fear is the end result of a chain of decoupling of our inner world, of our bodies. We get disconnected from our source, and the word that they use for the worst possible affliction that brings about fear in our life, they use the word avidya. Avidya represents the worst affliction that we humans suffer from. From avidya comes the worst possible condition. We forget who we are. When we forget who we are, we develop, if we don't know who we really are, then we have to develop or erect a false sense of self. We might call that ego. We can call it whatever we want, but it's a mask. It's a charade. It's only the smallest little aspect of ourselves. And then we feel small, afraid, and vulnerable in the world. And from that smaller point of view, we look out into the world and we engage in clutching and pushing. We try to grab the things we want and hold on to it for all that we've got. And of course, that means we're afraid of losing something, and we try to push away what we don't want. And of course, that just means the effort, the struggle to keep away what it is that we're afraid of. And then that leads to the fifth affliction, which is abhinavesa, which literally means fear. And so the answer to fear, say the yogis, is remembering who we are. Boy, that sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But when we're just gripped in a panic of fear, or a fear storm comes, as it does to us all from time to time. I know it's happens to me, and it just, kind of visiting one of those right now. The reason is really irrelevant. It's just, I'm afraid I'm not going to get something that I want, or I'm going to lose something important, generically speaking. But when that happens, it's like, well, Greg, just go ahead and remember who you are. And it's not that easy. When I'm afraid, I get pushed back into a very much older part of my brain. So the best that I've been able to come up with is prayer. And for me, prayer is connecting with our Vinyamaya kosha. It's our second to the most deep body inside of ourselves. It's the body of wisdom. The body of prayer, all the prayers that humans have said for as long as there have been humans, these great prayers, they resonate in a repository, like a library of brilliance that we can all tap into. So for me, this is just for me, the line, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And I didn't think of that prayer. It's one that I borrow because I can always remember it and I can always refer to it. It goes on to say something like, what does it say? It says, surely I will live in the house of the Lord forever. Well, I've forgotten it. It says, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But obviously, sometimes I can't even remember that prayer. So, what's my most go-to prayer when the S hits the fan inside of me? When I get that grip, I'm going to lose something, I'm not going to get something. I feel discouraged, I feel panicked, I feel my body's decoupling. And when I get discouraged, it just makes me want to kind of feel paralyzed. It's like I can't do anything. I just kind of shiver. So my go-to prayer when it is the most simple one, which is God is with me. I can always remember those four words. God is with me, God is with me, and I'll just keep saying it. And if I keep doing that, sooner or later, I think we all know that fear passes and we can feel it as a storm that's passed over our body and our body begins to degrip and our various aspects of our body, they begin to come back into alignment. But Vinyamaya kosha, this second most deep layer of our body, this wisdom repository that we all have, and these great prayers are something I believe that we can all fall back upon and find the most rapid and surefire road to get back to the most blessed condition, which is to be free of fear. Tell me what you think. What are some of your favorite prayers? And I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and we will enjoy a chat together. Thanks, you guys.